Hi everyone, you've been hearing all the buzz about tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, and wondering how you can actually use them effectively in your work as a faculty member. Maybe you've tried them out and gotten, well, less than stellar results. You're not alone. The key to unlocking the power of these generative AI tools lies in something called prompt engineering. It sounds technical, but trust me, it's much more accessible than you think. I'm Jason Matthew, and in this video we'll break down the basics to get you started. This video is designed just for you, higher education faculty who are new to generative AI and curious about how it can support your work. So, what exactly is a prompt? A prompt is the instruction, question, or text you give to GenAI to tell it what you want it to do. Think of it as the starting point for your conversation with GenAI. Now, you might be wondering if you need a computer science degree for this. Good news, you don't. You don't need any special coding skills or technical jargon to get started. The most important skill for basic prompt engineering is effective communication. If you can explain a task clearly to a student, a research assistant, or a colleague, you already have the foundational skills needed to write good prompts. Here's a helpful way to think about it. When you're learning to prompt, think about how you'd communicate a task to a human. If you give vague instructions to an assistant, you might get a vague or incorrect result. But if you provide specific details, background information, and clarify exactly what you need, you're much more likely to get the task done accurately. The same principle applies to GenAI. The more specific and thorough you are in your communication, the better the AI can process and complete the task. This image was generated by ChatGPT and has come a long way with generating text in image, but it's not perfect yet. As you can see, it spelled could incorrectly. All the prompts discussed in this video will work on any large language model, LLM. In today's session, I will be using ChatGPT, but you could use Gemini or Claude and get similar responses. All the prompts I use in this video are in the video description. Feel free to download and edit these prompts to suit your needs. So, what makes a prompt go from okay to great? While there isn't one magic formula, effective prompts often include several key elements. Persona. You can tell the AI who it should act as. Should it be an expert in a specific field, a friendly tutor, a skeptical reviewer? This helps shape the tone and style of the response. Context. This is the background information the AI needs. Who's the audience? What's the situation? What prior knowledge should be assumed? What are the learning outcomes? Task. This is what you actually want the AI to do. Be specific. Use action verbs. Do you want it to explain a concept, generate ideas, write a draft, summarize text? Desired output. What format do you want it in? Paragraphs, bullet points, a table, a list, an email draft? What's the word count? Let's see this in action. Imagine you want help explaining a concept for your class. A weak prompt might be, explain cognitive load. This is okay, but it's very general. The AI doesn't know who it's explaining it to or how you want it explained. Let's improve it by adding a persona. Act as an experienced educational psychologist who specializes in applying cognitive science principles to instructional design. Your tone should be professional yet approachable, similar to how you'd speak in an engaging workshop or keynote presentation. Next, we will add context. The audience is a group of novice instructional designers and educators attending a professional development workshop. They have little or no background in cognitive psychology, but are eager to learn how cognitive science can improve their teaching practices and course design. Let's add that prompt into our large language model ChatGPT. Much better. Now that the AI knows its role on the audience. Now let's make it great by specifying the task and then the desired output. The task is explain the concept of cognitive load, including its three types: intrinsic, extraneous, and germane, and discuss how each impacts learning. Include practical examples that educators and instructional designers can relate to, and briefly explain how an awareness of cognitive load can improve course design. Then we state the desired output. Provide a clear, well-structured explanation in paragraph format, using headings or bolded terms for clarity. Include at least one practical example for each type of cognitive load. See the difference? By adding those layers, you guide the AI to produce something much more targeted and useful for your specific needs. Remember, the better the input, the better the output. The more specific you are and the more context you give, the better the results. Here are a few more examples of prompts faculty might find helpful. There's a link to all of these prompts in the video description. In each example, the prompts contain the basic components: a persona, context, task, and desired output. The first example looks at a professor using GenAI to create 3 writing assignments. You can adopt the second prompt example to create discussion questions. And in the third and final example, GenAI is being prompted to generate multiple choice questions. Remember, the more specific you are, the better the result. Now, even with a great starting prompt, you might not get the perfect response on the first try. That's completely normal. Think of it as a conversation. Prompting is often an iterative process. You give an instruction, see the result, and then refine your instruction. Here are a few ways to iterate and improve your prompts. Revisit the prompting framework. Was your initial context clear enough? Could the persona be more defined? Did you specify the output format you really wanted? Example, if the explanation was too technical, you could add, explain it like you're talking to someone with no prior background in this field. Break down complex prompts. Sometimes we cram too much into one prompt. If your prompt was a long, wordy sentence with multiple requests, consider breaking it into simpler sentences or steps. For instance, instead of one giant question, you might split it. First do X, then do Y. Clear step-by-step instructions can help the AI follow along without missing parts of the request. Essentially, don't be afraid to simplify your language and structure. You can even do this interactively. Ask one question, get a result, then ask a follow-up question to refine or continue the task. Avoid jargon in your prompt unless it's essential for the AI's task. But instead of one long paragraph asking for everything, try separate sentences for persona, context, task, and format. Try different phrasing or approaches. If the output is bland or misses the mark, rephrase your request. Ask for the same information in a different way. If a summary is boring, you could try rewrite the previous summary in a more engaging and enthusiastic tone. Or even something creative like, explain this concept as if it was a news report. Use constraints. If the output is too broad, add constraints to narrow the focus. By telling the AI to constrain its answer to a specific time frame, location, or any category, you reduce ambiguity. This often leads to a more concise and relevant answer. Constraints act like guardrails, ensuring the AI doesn't stray too far from what you want. For example, if you ask for teaching strategies and got too many, you could add, focus only on strategies suitable for large lecture classes, or limit the strategies to those requiring minimal technology, or focus on the Canadian context, or just for the year 2021. You can also ask the LLM to recommend ways in which you can improve your prompt. Experimentation is key. Don't be afraid to tweak and try again. Keep the human in the loop. This is incredibly important. While AI can be a powerful assistant, it's not infallible. It can make mistakes. It can hallucinate where it generates incorrect information. It can also reflect biases present in the data it was trained on. Always maintain a human in the loop approach. Here's what that means in practice. Validate outputs. Always review AI generated content for accuracy before using it, especially for factual information, summaries, or explanations you might share with students. Check for potential bias in the language or examples. You are the expert. Evaluate suitability. Does the AI generated content actually fit your specific teaching context and student needs? Is it appropriate? Does it align with your pedagogical approach? Protect privacy. Be very careful about the information you put into prompts. Avoid using sensitive or confidential data about yourself, your students, or your research, especially in public AI tools. Use institutionally approved tools when available. Always err on the side of caution to protect your students' and colleagues' privacy. Get approval. Check your institution's policies on using generative AI in teaching and research. Be transparent. If you're using AI-generated content significantly, example, drafting course materials, providing feedback, consider disclosing this to your students or colleagues as appropriate. It builds trust and models responsible AI use. So let's quickly recap. Prompt engineering is about giving clear, specific instructions to AI. Think about providing context, defining a persona, and detailing the task and desired output. Don't expect perfection on the first try. Iterate and refine your prompts. And most importantly, keep yourself in the loop to ensure accuracy, ethical use, and suitability. The best way to learn is by doing. Start experimenting with simple prompts related to your work. You might be surprised at how helpful these tools can be when guided effectively. Be sure to check out the video description for a link to a shared Google Doc with all the prompts used in this video, plus a quick summary of the main points. Thanks for watching. I hope this introduction helps you feel more confident in exploring generative AI. We've only scratched the surface today. Stay tuned for a future video where we'll dive into more advanced prompting techniques. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content on educational technology. Let me know in the comments how you're planning to experiment with prompts, what large language models you are using, and please share the prompts you create in the comments. Bye for now. Take care.